Dean Veloso, Dean Hazija, distinguished faculty, parents, family, and friends, and of course, the MEME Master in Management class of 2027. Congratulations. What an achievement. As I look across the sea of young, and I would have to say very much above average good-looking faces, I'm filled with a sense of hope for the future. A while ago, I was trying to explain to a friend, someone who hadn't been to INSEAD, what INSEAD meant to me. Wow, what a big question. And I did what most of my promotion would have done. I reached for a bottle of wine. Metaphorically speaking, of course. This is what I told my friend. Leaving INSEAD with a degree is like being given a bottle of wine. Newly crafted, beautifully made, you carry it home, you store it carefully, you tend to it. And there's something peculiar about this bottle of wine. You can pull the cork, you can take a sip, you can put the cork back, and the wine never goes sour. You drink it often, many times a year, and each time the flavors have deepened, richer and finer, year after year. And the most strange and beautiful thing about this bottle is that it never runs empty. The more you drink from it, the better it gets. And that is INSEAD for me in a nutshell. Just last week, I was in Ho Chi Minh City. I was having a really hard day on both work and personal fronts. I dropped into my friend Tammy's art studio. She's a good friend from my 13D promotion. And we walked around the corner to a local coffee shop. And we sat down in these tiny little plastic chairs. I think there must be a rule in Vietnam that every cafe must have these really tiny plastic chairs. And we sipped on the local beverage, which is the Vietnamese coffee, and it's famously strong. And we just talked. I left 20 minutes later with heart palpitations, but also feeling much lighter. 13 years after we left INSEAD, on a hard Tuesday in a coffee shop in Ho Chi Minh City, the bottle is still pouring, and it's only getting more beautiful. I sat where you're sitting right now, 13 years ago, and I had no idea that the people next to me in my class in Fonty and Singi will become some of the most important people in my life. My personal board, the ones that I would call at crossroads, the ones that would celebrate weddings, the birth of children, promotions, failures, heartbreaks, and reinventions together. Look to your left. Please do. Some people don't know where the left is. Look to your right. Look around this room. Take it all in. There will be many lifelong friendships here. And perhaps even some marriages. And even perhaps some babies. I'm starting with this because everything I've learned in the last 13 years come back to it. The work, the career ladder, the achievements, the company that almost broke me, the company that became my calling. Through it all, every season, every vicissitude of life, one thing truly matters. And that is your relationships. Deepen your relationships. Now, every speaker on a night like this tells you relationships matter. They always have. But here is why I think it matters now than when I was sitting where you are. For my whole career, thus far, there are two things that set people apart: how good you were at your work and who you knew. Technical expertise was a real edge. It took years to build and was rare. But AI is changing that. The technical work, the analysis, the modeling, the coding is being commoditized fast. The thing that used to take years now take an afternoon. So one of your two advantages is disappearing, which leaves the other one, the relationships. Human to human relationships are becoming more valuable, not less. This isn't sentimental advice. This is the clearest advice I have. Let me show you what I mean through some stories from my life. Before INSEAD, I had a really good career on paper. A law and commerce double degree in Melbourne, investment banking after that, in a niche called structured finance. Hard to get into, long hours, great pay. So why did I leave? Here's a practice that I want to share with you. You can do it as soon as next month. I looked up. While working in Hong Kong, I looked at the people 2 levels above me. I watched how they spent their days. I watched one of them, who shall not be named, bring his kid into his corner office on weekends. And the kid would play quietly in the corner of his corner office while the work went on, almost every weekend. And I thought to myself, no, that's not what I want. Most of you will be working under a boss very soon. Look up, watch carefully. Whatever you see, let yourself see it clearly. Whatever the answer is to, do I want that life? It's information that you can act on. Success is expensive. The only question is whether you're willing to pay what it costs. So for me, the answer was no. I decided I didn't want to be a career banker. So I came to INSEAD not knowing what came next, only knowing that I wanted more pathways in front of me to choose from. And INSEAD widened the world for me. After it, I did impact investing, private equity, and VC. And then, after 5 years of that, I started my own company. When I was sitting with the idea of leaving private equity to start a startup, leaving a well-paid, stable job for something completely uncertain, I didn't make that decision alone. I went to my INSEAD friends. I asked them whether I should do it. And I remember the lunch really clearly. It was on level 33, which is a really beautiful gastropub overlooking Marina Bay Sands, where we are now. It was a cloudless day. We were feeling literally on top of the world. So I asked my 4 INSEAD friends sitting in front of me, should I give up the comfortable career that I had, the good paycheck, the Singapore Airlines business class flights, the 5-star hotels, the private drivers? Should I all give it up to start my own business? And the answer was unequivocal. Yes, do it, they said. So I did. I left my job. So fast forward a few months later, I found myself in Manila, in an apartment in Mandaluyong, which is a much humbler suburb than Makati or BGC. And we had converted this apartment into a small office. The apartment may or may not have witnessed a number of cockroach infestations. And the tech team were sleeping on mattresses on the floor. My COO, Martin, who was an INSEAD alum, and a team of engineers camped out there for months. I downgraded to budget airlines and $30 hotel rooms. And I thought to myself, wow, my friends gave me really bad advice. Or they must really hate me. Jokes aside, their belief in me became part of what I believed to myself. The big decisions in your life are not made alone. They're made inside relationships you built with people whose judgment you trust. So build those relationships now and become one of them for someone else. So, back to my first company, Biomark. The problem we're solving was real. I won't bore you with the details, but essentially we connected laboratories to clinics, hospitals, doctors, patients, in an environment where most of the workflows were still manual. And we had a clear technical solution and software to connect different systems and algorithms that explained what a blood test result meant. We spent 2 years building this tech. Now you can vibe code this tech in about 2 days. So 2 years for 2 days. But here is my insight. The technology of the company was never the moat of the business. The real work of Biomark, the work that was the reason why the company was acquired, wasn't the code. It was the network that we built. Walking into clinics one by one, convincing doctors to change how they worked to use our system. Sitting with hospital administrators over weeks of meetings until they trusted us. Building relationships, growing the network, slowly, in person, one practice at a time. And that's the work that AI cannot do. And that's the work that takes years. And that was the real moat of the business. In the world you're walking into, technology has become the easy bit. Relationships, more than ever, are what will make the difference. Your network will be your net worth. Now, here comes the harder part of the story to tell. It's the part where bad things happen. It's the part where I also found my calling. So I exited Biomark during COVID, partly luck, partly because of that real moat around the business. But during my early days of Biomark, I had also become pregnant. And what followed was the hardest period of my life. It came out of nowhere. Through a series of unfortunate instances, I suffered severe postnatal depression. People describe depression in different ways. For me, it was like walking through a long, dark tunnel with no end. I want to take you back to one afternoon. I'm in my bedroom, the sun is setting, the lights are off, and the room is dark. I'm by myself, and I'm crying. And the tears just roll down my face, and I can't stop them. My wonderful husband, Andrew, is outside looking after our baby. My mother is making a lovely meal for me. I'm surrounded by love, and yet I felt utterly alone. Alone and afraid. I'm afraid of 3 things at the same time. I'm afraid that I will feel like this way forever. I'm afraid that the startup that I built would fall apart because I cannot show up for it. And I'm afraid of letting everyone around me down. My husband, my family, my team, my investors, my baby. I'm a woman with a great education, thanks to INSEAD, financial resources, and with a supportive husband and network, but I am drowning. It took months of therapy and people around me who held me through it. And later, I learned that what I experienced wasn't unique. 1 in 3 mothers suffer from postnatal depression or anxiety. I don't want to scare you off having babies, by the way. You should continue having them. After the worst of it, a question began to sit with me. What service could I have received? What place could I have gone to where I wouldn't have had to go through all that stuff alone? And it took 3 years. I had a second child. I exited Biomark, and I thought about many entrepreneurial ideas. But this one niggled at me. It never let me go. I had to do it. And the question became the Joyful Nest, Vietnam's first premium postpartum sanctuary. I want to tell you what it took to build it, because the unglamorous parts of building something are not often described. The Joyful Nest is housed inside a 5-star hotel, and before we could open, we needed a hotel partner willing to host a category that didn't exist yet in Vietnam. We spoke to hotel after hotel, and all of them said no. They couldn't see our vision. They only saw the risk, that no one had done it locally before. Eventually, after months of getting no's, Vignesh, the general manager at Oakwood, said yes. That partnership is the reason why the Joyful Nest exists at all. Again, it's the relationship. Finding the people who will trust you and bet on you, and that is what makes the difference. Another challenge we had was finding the right people. We needed specialist operational expertise, and the most developed postpartum industry is in Taiwan. The talent I needed was there, but I didn't know how to reach it. So I went to the Taiwan INSEAD alumni community, and through them, I was put in touch with specialist headhunters who knew exactly where to find the people I needed. Without that chain, INSEAD Friends, Taiwan Alumni Group, specialist recruiters, we could not have built the team. And that's how networks actually work. It's not just one phone call. It's a chain of people, each one passing you to the next, each one trusting you because someone they trust trusts you. Just last week, I attended our weekly afternoon tea at the Joyful Nest, the one that we hold for mothers staying with us. And I looked around the room, and 3 things hit me at once. The mothers were young, they looked amazing, full of vitality, just days after giving birth. And they were sharing openly with each other about everything that we're going through. And it was a complete opposite of what I had experienced. I had been alone in a darkened room in tears at the start of a long tunnel. And they were in a room full of light with other women and laughter and conversation, held, connected, recovering. And that's when I felt it, an immense joy, a sense of achievement and gratitude. My suffering had led to something meaningful, and it was helping alleviate the suffering of others. The Joyful Nest has since been featured in CNA, Tatler, Marie Claire, VTV, Vietnam's biggest TV network, and has won national awards. We have pioneered a new industry in Vietnam and are working with the Ministry of Health to shape industry guidelines. But more importantly, I found the work I'd happily do for the rest of my life. As an entrepreneur in residence, people approach me all the time asking whether they should start a business. My answer is always the same. Only start a business if you're solving a problem that you truly care about. It is a hard slog. Are you willing to spend the next 5 to 10 years of your life solving the problem? Do you care about solving it more than anyone else in the world? If the answer is yes, then go for it, because you will overestimate what you can achieve in 1 year and underestimate what you can achieve in 10. The compounding effect is real. Dean Veloso talks about business as a force for good, and here's what I've come to believe about that. Business as a force for good isn't something that you add on top of a successful business to make it more meaningful. Business done well is relationships done well, between you and your team, between your service and the people who need it, and between what you build and the community that it serves. A business that creates real value for everyone is, by definition, a force for good. Now, I cannot say what I've just said without saying something to the parents and partners in the room. I didn't fully appreciate my own parents until I became a parent myself. Nothing prepares you for the amount of love and the amount of sacrifice you're willing to make for your children. I have 2 of my own now, and I know now what I couldn't have known at 23, that every success in my life rests on the love that was freely given and that can never truly be repaid. And on the subject of partners, I truly believe that the most important decision you'll ever make for your own happiness is choosing the right partner. Choose carefully, take your time, you've got plenty. Find the person who will be your biggest supporter, your best teammate. What you build at home, the stability of it, will be the strong base from which you build everything else. So can I ask you to stand up a 3rd time and face your family and parents and partners? So. Yeah. So, to the parents and partners and families in this room, thank you. Tonight is yours too. You're about to walk out of here, and the world is going to ask you 1,000 questions about your career and your plans. I will leave you with one thought. In a few moments, you'll walk across this stage, and your name would be read out. A diploma with your name on it will be placed in your hands. But that diploma is not yours alone. There are 100 names that should be on it too. Names you cannot see, but they're all the same. Your parents, your friends, the professors, the partners, the people who believed in you before you believed in yourself. You did not arrive here alone, and you will not get anywhere worth going alone either. The meme may feel like a finish line, but it isn't. All these years only brought you to the starting line of your career, the starting line of the rest of your life. The path ahead is long. There'll be lots of twists and turns. You wouldn't know what's around the corner. You don't need to know. And as you walk into an extraordinary age of change, remember this. Your greatest advantage will not be what you know. It will be who walks beside you. So, deepen your relationships. Tend to them, show up for them, let them show up for you. And 20 years from now, when industries have changed, technologies have evolved, and titles have come and gone, the bottle will still be pouring, only getting more beautiful. Congratulations, meme class of 2027.
Thank you, Kun Jiang, for sharing your experience, your advice, especially your personal stories. I mean, this cannot be easy, but it is extremely meaningful. So thanks again for doing that for the class of 2027 MEM. And would like to give you something to show our appreciation.